Hello again and welcome to Baldur's Gate 3 with PlatX here. I'm doing a Platinum guide and this is a tactician playthrough because there is a trophy for that difficulty. And I've chosen a Druid and I just wanted to show you leveling up to level 3 what that looks like. It seems like after watching some videos on this game, Druid is one of the lowest like used classes. And it's funny because druids have some very unique abilities like shape changing to allow you to turn into a cat and go through all those little holes that you come across and you're like, what's on the other side of that? Oh, I'm too big for it. Well, naturally. So it's kind of weird that druids, because that's kind of why I used a druid in the first place when I first did, because I got tired of going by all those little holes that I couldn't figure out what was on the other side of it without, again, having like a familiar or being able to change shape. And then when I was playing a druid, I came across this spell right here, Spike Growth. It's a level 2 spell, so you first acquired it at level 3 druid. It's also available to rangers. Spike Growth is one of the most powerful crowd control spells in the game, simply because it does not burst into flames when you cast it, just because there was a candle there, or because you used a firebolt or something on the turn before, so the ground is a little smoldering. You know what I mean? Things like grease, plant growth, like entangle, all those sorts of things will literally the entire thing just burst into flames if it touches even the slightest little bit of spark there. Spike growth, on the other hand, does not. It reduces their movement speed by half and does 2 to 8 piercing damage every 1.5 meters it moves. That right there is what makes it so powerful, that it does not burst into flames and it does damage as they move through it. That does not make it usable in all situations. You could be up against casters that can easily just Misty Step out of it, especially Gith Yankee. If you're up against Gith Yankee, they'll just Misty Step right out of it. Or, once they might take a little bit of damage, but then once they get out of it, they're out of it. You know what I mean? So there's ways to keep it valid throughout the combat by using those void orbs that you can get from the beginning of the game. They're like a Gith Yankee weapon, and there you can get so many of them throughout the game. Those little void things, you throw them in there, and it'll just pull them right back into it. Shoving, you can shove them back into it. And another thing about somebody that might be a caster that can cast Misty Step out of it, or Gith Yankee. So once you cast this, if you got somebody that can throw a darkness on it, so they can't see out of it. So then that reduces the chances of them jumping out of it or casting Misty Step, things of that nature. So there are ways to, make it even more effective. There's another one of this type that is another, spell like this that reduces their movement speed and damages them while they're not as they move, but if they end their turn or start their turn in it. It's called Hungers of Hadar. It's a warlock spell. So these spells have very limited availability in the classes that either you choose or the companions that you have. So again, Spike Growth is either a druid or ranger spell. And that Hungers of Hadar, I think, is strictly limited to warlocks. Now, I could be mistaken on that, but I believe that is a warlock-only spell. So anyway, I just wanted to go over that and finish leveling up here. Now, these are because of my specialization as a druid, being a circle of the land. As you level up, you'll come across things like this where you get 2 spells that's always prepared. And in some cases, it could be a spell that's not normally available to a druid. Arctic would be Hold Person Spike Growth. Mirror Image Misty Step. Now, I don't think Mirror Image is normally a Druid spell. If we back up here at all the spells we just... I mean, here's all the level 2 spells for Druids. Yeah, I don't see Mirror Image. So by selecting Coast, I'm getting Mirror Image and Misty Step, which I don't think Misty Step is one of them either. So these are 2 spells that's not even available to a Druid. And they're always prepared? Well, heck yeah, man. Misty Step is an amazing spell. Like, it's just throughout the game, very, very helpful. Blur and Silence, is that another one? Let's find out. Blur does not look to be... Now, Silence is a cleric spell, but it does not appear to be a Druid spell. So here's 2 more. Blur and Silence, not Druid spells. Bark, Skin, and Hold Person are. Invisibility, Pass Without Trace. Well, Pass Without Trace is a Druid spell, but I don't believe that Invisibility was. Mirror Image, Spike Growth. Melf's Acid Arrow and Darkness. Now, I'm not sure Darkness... Boom, there's 2 more, and I just used reference of using Darkness in combination with Spike Growth. Of course, you would need 2 different people to use it, though, to really be effective with it. Web and Misty Step. Web is not one of theirs. Misty Step is. Or no, those are showing up here because I selected Coast already. Because we already looked at that. So again, Circle of the Land Druids, you know, have access to spells that are not accessible to just all Druids. Spike Growth for certain. I really don't even like to use Entangle simply because of what I just said. It'll burst into flames, and entangling them, like if they've got ranged ability, it's, you know, not that. I would prefer to use something that slows their movement versus something that there's a savings throw for to either be effective or not effective. See, it says possibly entangle them, meaning there's a savings throw. So I'm going to get rid of Entangle here and pick up... This would probably be the most enhance ability. This basically allows you to use ability checks with advantage. And for another reason I picked a halfling for this is their luck of being able to re-roll 1s. So that combined with this makes that a very effective combo for skill checks and things. And this right here, the Druids really, I mean, they've got some of the best, like a 3d8 fire damage. I mean, it's a weapon. You swing it, it's a sword. But it's strictly fire damage. There's no slashing, piercing, whatever. But that's the highest damage of any melee weapon. A 2-handed sword does 2d6. That's 2 to 12. This is 3d6, 3 to 18. There are some... So I think I'm going to get rid of Thunder Wave. No, let's keep Thunder Wave. Now, the thing with healing spells is if you're not in combat, you don't really need to have these healing spells like prepared. I mean, you can always change your prepared spells when you need to cast it. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out Goodberry with I'll go ahead and do Moonbeam simply because there's very few spells that do radiant damage. And Moonbeam you can move without having to recast it. Alright, that's it for the Druid for this little video, and I will see you in the next part. Thanks for watching.